Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's special broadcast, where we bring you an exclusive, in-depth look into one of the most remarkable musical adventures of our time. A journey filled with passion, creative struggle, and an unyielding commitment to artistic integrity that has left even the most seasoned performers transformed. Tonight, we delve into the extraordinary story behind Elton John's latest album, Who Believes in Angels, a project that has already set the music world abuzz with its daring collaboration and the promise of reinvention. It is a story of a man who, even after decades of monumental success, still finds himself vulnerable, questioning, and ultimately inspired by the simple magic of a genuine connection. This remarkable journey began almost as soon as Elton John stepped into the recording studio for his new album in 2023, when he and his longtime lyricist Brandi Taupin decided to reach out to the incomparable singer-songwriter Brandi Carlile with a proposal that would change everything, a proposal to create an album together in just 20 days. Yes, you heard that right. In a bold leap of faith, these creative powerhouses gathered with producer Andrew Watt and embarked on an adventure with no predetermined plan, no blueprint to follow, just raw, unfiltered passion for the craft of making music. From the moment the idea was hatched, Elton was captivated by the sheer unpredictability of it all. We went in with Andrew Watt, Brandi Taupin, and myself. He recalled in a recent interview on Morning Edition, his voice tinged with excitement and genuine wonder. We had nothing, but that's what excited me. I didn't want to know what was going to happen. I was wanting to be unprepared and have a big adventure. And what an adventure it turned out to be. This collaborative effort, which ultimately birthed the album Who Believes in Angels, is unlike anything Elton has ever done before. It marks a significant departure from his previous work, not merely in sound or style, but in the very process of creation. For the first time ever, Elton allowed a camera crew to document the writing and recording process, capturing every moment of doubt, every burst of inspiration, and every setback along the way. What emerges from this unprecedented behind-the-scenes look is not just a record of the creative process, but a deeply human portrait of an artist who, despite his legendary status, still battles with self-doubt and fear in the studio. As the footage reveals, the first few sessions were nothing short of disastrous. The initial recordings were riddled with tension and uncertainty, with Elton himself admitting that he felt overwhelmed by the fear of not being able to capture the magic he so desperately sought. The fear led to me having self-doubt about my writing, about what the album should be like, he confessed. It was a moment of vulnerability that many fans would find surprising coming from someone whose career has spanned decades of chart-topping hits and dazzling live performances. For the first 5 or 6 days, Elton was in a state of low spirits, frustrated, even ornery, doubting whether he should continue with the project at all. There were moments when he thought, I don't know whether we should continue with this, as the pressure to create something meaningful and innovative weighed heavily on his shoulders. Yet, as the creative process unfolded, something extraordinary began to happen. Slowly, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. One by one, the songs took shape until the recording sessions began to accelerate like a rocket launching into the stratosphere. The turning point came when Brandi Taupin, Elton's longtime collaborator, presented him with the lyrics to 2 pivotal tracks, The Rose of Laura Nyro and Little Richard's Bible. And then there was Swing for the Fences, a song that Brandi Carlile herself described as a true gem, a love letter to LGBTQ youth, and in many ways, a thank you note to Elton. It was this track that truly lit a spark under the entire project. When Brandi first presented Swing for the Fences in the studio, the reaction was nothing short of electrifying. Elton, whose passion for music had always burned bright, could hardly contain his elation. Hallelujah, she finally got it, hallelujah. This is what I've been wanting her to do for a long time, he exclaimed, his voice rising in a joyful crescendo that seemed to wipe away all of the earlier doubts and frustrations. It was as if, in that moment, all the struggles and uncertainties of the preceding days were transformed into a burst of creative energy that propelled the album forward. Yet despite the breakthroughs, the journey was not without its challenges. The video documentation reveals that there were moments of raw emotion and intense self-criticism. At one point, after recording a song that ended up being scrapped from the album, Elton looked around at his tours, Brandi, Bernie, and Andrew, and declared, "I hate it, absolutely hate it. I won't be continuing." It was a moment of brutal honesty that struck a chord with everyone in the room. In that instant, the raw vulnerability of one of music's greatest legends was laid bare, reminding us that even the most accomplished artists are not immune to the pangs of self-doubt and the fear of mediocrity. Brandi, who had been grappling with her own insecurities about connecting with Elton initially, described that moment as both devastating and, in retrospect, profoundly pure. "There's something really pure about that reaction," she later reflected, acknowledging that if nobody had dared to voice their dislike for the song except for Elton himself, they might have ended up with an album that sounded stale and uninspired, a relic of the past rather than a bold new statement. This frank admission of self-criticism and the willingness to start over is in many ways what makes this project so extraordinary. Elton John, despite being a global icon whose career is studded with countless successes, has never been afraid to confront his own shortcomings head-on. "Doubt is something you always have when you're doing an album," he said candidly. "If you don't have doubt, then you shouldn't be there because you're coasting. You never should coast. I've never coasted, and I never want to coast." These words resonate deeply, offering a glimpse into the relentless drive for perfection that has defined Elton's career, as well as the realization that doubt is an essential part of the creative process. It is through questioning, through moments of uncertainty and vulnerability, that true innovation is born. And on this album, every note, every lyric, and every chord is imbued with the hard-won wisdom that comes from having faced those doubts and overcome them. Throughout the recording process, Brandi Carlile played an integral role, not just as a collaborator, but as a source of strength and inspiration. Despite her initial nervousness about working with someone of Elton's stature, she quickly found that her own insecurities melted away in the face of his authenticity and passion. "I was having a hard time connecting with Elton at first," she admitted during one of the interviews. "I was a little afraid. It took me a second to get strong. But then I realized that his doubts, his fears, were not weaknesses, but part of the process, a process that I wanted to honor." Her willingness to confront her own vulnerabilities and embrace the raw emotions that come with creating music was a key factor in the album's eventual transformation. In many ways, the project became a shared journey, a leap of faith, not just in each other's musicality, but in the power of friendship and collaboration to overcome even the most daunting challenges. It was a reminder that great art is often born out of the willingness to risk it all, to expose one's soul, and to trust that together, something truly magnificent can emerge. In the studio, the environment was charged with a mix of tension and exhilaration. There were moments when the atmosphere was so thick with creative energy that it felt almost tangible, a force that propelled everyone forward, even when doubts threatened to derail the progress. The early sessions, which many insiders describe as chaotic and fraught with missteps, eventually gave way to a rhythm that was as natural as it was electrifying. As the songs began to take shape, the initial failures were reinterpreted as stepping stones on the path to something greater. Elton's breakthrough came when he finally embraced the spontaneity of the moment, allowing his emotions to guide him rather than relying solely on premeditated perfection. "I broke down, then composed myself, and I came in, did it first take, piano and vocal live, and that's what you hear," he explained. It was a raw, unfiltered performance that captured the essence of his artistry, a moment when the fear of failure was vanquished by the sheer force of creativity. One of the standout tracks from the album is "When This Old World Is Done With Me," a song that delves into themes of mortality and the passage of time. As Elton recounted, he was halfway through writing the lyrics on a bus when he suddenly found himself overcome with emotion as he reached the chorus. "When this old world is done with me, just know I came this far. To be broken up in pieces, scatter me among the stars," he sang, his voice trembling with raw emotion. It was a moment of profound introspection, a reflection on the inevitability of change and the fragility of life. Yet despite the heavy subject matter, there was also an undeniable sense of optimism in the melody and the way the words were delivered. It was as if, in confronting the certainty of our mortality, Elton was also celebrating the beauty of life and the remarkable journey that has brought him to this point. For him, singing about mortality was not an exercise, in gloom, but rather a powerful acknowledgement of the passage of time and the importance of cherishing every moment. When you get to a certain age, you think about mortality, he remarked. I'm not a gloom and doom person. I think I have so much more time on this planet, but it's a part of life, and it's important to sing about it in a way that is both meaningful and optimistic. The album, aptly titled Who Believes in Angels, Ali is a testament to the transformative power of music, a power that transcends the boundaries of genre, time, and expectation. It is a project that defies convention, merging the storied legacy of one of pop music's greatest icons with this fresh, innovative spirit of a rising star. The collaboration between Elton John, Taupin, and Brandi Carlile is a bold experiment in artistic fusion, a melding of influences, experiences, and emotions that results in something entirely new and utterly captivating. And as the recording sessions unfolded, it became increasingly clear that this was not merely an album in the making. It was a profound journey of self-discovery, one that challenged each of the artists to confront their own doubts and emerge stronger on the other side. Throughout this creative odyssey, the role of doubt was ever present. A quiet, persistent voice that questioned every note, every word, and every chord. Yet, as Elton so eloquently put it, doubt is not something to be feared, but rather a necessary ingredient in the recipe for greatness. If you don't have doubt, then you're coasting, he asserted, a statement that carries with it the weight of decades of experience and the wisdom of someone who has truly lived through the highs and lows of a remarkable career. It is this very doubt that has driven him to push beyond the boundaries of what is expected and to continually reinvent himself, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And in the process, he has shown that the willingness to question oneself is not a sign of weakness, but a mark of true artistic integrity. Brandi Carlile's contribution to the album cannot be overstated. Her role was not simply to add her distinctive voice to the project, but to infuse it with a spirit of rebellion, authenticity, and unwavering commitment to the truth of the musical experience. In her own words, the album was a leap of faith, a moment of trusting in her own musical instincts and in the transformative power of collaboration. It was a leap of faith of our friendship and each other's musicality, and whether those things would blend, she explained, acknowledging the inherent risk in embarking on such an ambitious project. And indeed, the process was not without its moments of tension and self-doubt. At one point, as the team listened to the playback of a song that had not lived up to its potential, Brandi recalled how Elton's reaction was nothing short of raw and unfiltered. I watched Elton do something I've never been brave enough to do, she said. He looked at me, Bernie, and Andrew, and he said, I hate it, absolutely hate it, and then he said, it won't be continuing. It was a moment of brutal honesty, a declaration that if something did not meet his own high standards, there was no room for compromise. And while that admission was painful to witness, it ultimately proved to be a turning point, a catalyst that pushed everyone to dig deeper and reach higher in pursuit of excellence. As the days passed and the album began to take shape, the initial frustrations gave way to a sense of exhilaration and creative momentum. With each new song, the team found that the pieces of the puzzle were slowly, almost imperceptibly, falling into place. The collaborative spirit that had defined the early days of the project now shone brightly, infusing every track with a vitality and passion that was unmistakable. Elton John, whose career has always been characterized by his flamboyant personality and unmatched musical prowess, emerged from the crucible of self-doubt with a renewed sense of purpose. In the end, this has been one of the greatest experiences that I've had in recent years in the studio, he reflected, his words imbued with a mixture of relief, joy, and profound satisfaction. It was a sentiment that resonated not just with him, but with everyone who had poured their heart and soul into the project. For it was in those long, arduous days of recording, in the moments of vulnerability and frustration, that the true magic of the album was forged. A magic that comes from the collision of raw emotion, fearless experimentation, and the unwavering belief that greatness is born of struggle. The making of Who Believes in Angels is a story that is as much about the creative process as it is about the enduring human spirit. It is a tale of risk and reward, of the courage to face one's own limitations and to push beyond them in the pursuit of something extraordinary. And as the album finally nears completion, the fruits of that labor, Believes in Angels, is not just another chapter in the career of a global superstar. It is a saga of transformation, of a fearless leap into the unknown, and of the relentless pursuit of artistic truth. Elton John, with his decades of experience and his boundless passion for music, has once again proven that even the greatest among us are not immune to doubt. Yet it is precisely that willingness to question, to struggle, and to ultimately triumph over adversity that makes his work resonate so deeply with fans around the world. And in partnering with Brandi Carlile, a talent whose own journey is marked by resilience, vulnerability, and an unyielding dedication to authenticity, the album becomes a beacon of hope and inspiration for anyone who dares to dream, to create, and to embrace the uncertain path of true artistry. As we leave you tonight with this tale of passion, perseverance, and musical rebirth, remember that every note, every lyric, and every chord in Who Believes in Angels is a testament to the power of doubt turned into brilliance. It is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, when the fear of failure looms large, there is the possibility of finding the light, a light that shines through the cracks of uncertainty to reveal the true beauty of the creative spirit. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the heart of one of music's most daring adventures. As we say goodnight, let us carry with us the enduring lesson that doubt is not our enemy, but rather the spark that ignites our greatest triumphs. Good night and good luck as we all continue to believe in the magic of creation and the promise of tomorrow.